It has been a few months since we had our first 2024 F-150s dropped off here at Apple Autos. And we've had a lot of experience behind the wheel of XL, STXs, XLTs, and the lower trims of the F-150. The lariat and up of the F-150 gets an entirely revised front fascia, which I think looks great with these really cool running lights. Today we're going to check out this F-150 Platinum with a window sticker of around $86,000 and see if it is worth that massive price gap over the lower trim F-150s, or if you should stick with the lower trims. My name is Austin. Welcome to Apple Autos. If you're interested in purchasing this truck, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. Now let's check out the 2024 Ford F-150 Platinum. I'm going to go ahead and start this video in back where I noticed the most functional difference between the lower and higher trims of F-150, and that would be the tailgate. The tailgate on the F-150 is an entirely different design here on the higher trims, giving it an almost barn door type entry. There's two buttons on the tailgate, one of which is right here, which opens the tailgate in a center fashion, leaving some area on the sides, but opening up the middle, making it very easy to nicely load things directly into the bed, which I think is going to be the most useful case for it. You don't have the entire tailgate to try to put it on top of and drag over. You can simply walk up and set it directly into the bed and then just simply shut your tailgate with absolutely zero issues. That's what I could see this being the most beneficial use case scenario. Other than that, I don't have any ideas off the top of my head where this would be commonly used. I'm curious what you guys would use it for down in the comments below. Then the other thing that the higher trim F-150 has, which we have seen previously, is the fully power rear tailgate. One of the things I'd really like to see is, I do know that you can take the key out here and you can move the tailgate up and down with the key fob. However, the only way to put the key up, or the tailgate up, other than the button inside and the key fob, is to again press this button. So you press this button to open it, just like so, and then to close it, there's no buttons sitting around anywhere in here. So you actually have to reach down here and kind of feel around to go ahead and shut the tailgate again, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But other than that, I think this is a really useful tailgate, and overall, functionality wise, this is the biggest differentiator that I noticed from the lower trims of F-150. Now, one of the things I would really like to see Ford do back here is make this standard, and that would be bed liner. It's still an additional option to put bed liner in this truck. Even at the extremely high MSRP that this truck is at, you still have to pay extra for bed liner, making it ultimately look kind of cheap back here. And also, I feel like there's an okay amount of tie down points back here, but I would like to see better use of the space of the bed back here. I feel like there's some additional tie down points that we could put from the factory, or maybe some locking sliding rails. We get that stuff on the lower trim Maverick all standard, so why on this really high trim F-150 do we not get it? I don't really know. One of the things I find cool about the F-150 is the Pro Power onboard system, which is these couple of outlets in the bed here that you can turn on and off using this button. And ultimately, these are some pretty powerful outlets. You could run an arc welder, literally a welder, off of the bed of this truck while it's running. That's pretty impressive and super cool. I also like this button here, which illuminates the top of the bed lights, as well as these two LED strips that are in the bed that illuminate the entire bed, making it very easy to see at night, and they're in a very convenient spot to press to see at any time. While I'm back here, I should also mention the standard power rear sliding glass. I do think that's pretty convenient. It's big, lets a lot of air out of the cabin. It's pretty cool. Now, a few of the other things that I like on the back of the Platinum F-150, one of which is the new taillight housings. They have like a blacked out inside of the housing that makes them look pretty aggressive, and they stand out a lot. And there's also a lot of dimension to them. So really, I'm a big fan of the updated taillight housings on the 2024 F-150. On the higher trim, we get this black chrome exhaust tip versus just the exposed steel or exposed metal. It looks a lot nicer, it looks a lot higher end sitting there, and it also matches some of the interior components that you're gonna see as we move onto the inside. I think that's kind of unique. I also like the 4x4 badges on the side of the box here, but in this white, the Platinum doesn't stick out a whole lot. It's, other than the different front end and the barn door type tailgate, it's kind of hard to decipher this one from a lower trim F-150. And on the remainder of the side of the Platinum, you're going to notice standard, we have a 360-degree camera, blind spot assist. And if we open the door, you're going to notice the power running boards do not come out. That is because you have the option to turn them on and off, which I think is a pretty cool feature, especially considering on the older F-150s and a lot of older vehicles, power running boards tend to go out and they're a very expensive fix. And a lot of that has to do with the climate that we live in, being winter here, because a lot of snow and slush and debris gets up inside of that motor as it moves, opens and closes throughout the year. So being able to shut that off during the winter time, I think, is a huge plus. Not only that, but they can be slippery in the winter time, and it's taking away another thing that you could possibly slip on by not having that power running board on at all times. So I think that's pretty cool, yet still being able to turn it on when, you know, grandma comes in and she needs an extra step up to get into the truck. Right up front here is where we see the biggest exterior difference between the lower trims of F-150, and I think it is a big upgrade. As much as I do like the lower trims where it's the solid panel that runs all the way across the front, splitting it off into the different headlight housings does look pretty good. I also really like the running lights and the way that it matches down to this fog light, kind of that LED shape down at the bottom. I think it's super aggressive looking. I love the split from black back to painted to black again. Very, very nice looking front end here on the Platinum. Definitely the biggest giveaway that it is not a cheap truck by any means. It's quite great looking, and the new updated Ford logo with the black and white layover looks fantastic over, well, this black and white truck. It matches quite well. The exposed tow hooks down at the bottom that are also painted in the gloss black, all of it just makes for a very nice looking package. You also see the parking sensors and the front camera for that 360-degree camera right up front. While up front, we should also point out all the sensors that are built into the top of the windshield here, and a lot of that has to do with our adaptive cruise control that is standard on the F-150. I think without further ado, it's time for me to hop inside of this luxurious truck, and right off the bat, I noticed the Alcantara in leather stitched all over the doors. This blue Alcantara with blue stitching, just absolutely beautiful. It's like this really, really deep blue color. Big fan of it. The B&O speaker grills look fantastic. Hopping into here, you immediately notice this is not fake leather inside of the F-150, but much higher quality material. It's got a lot more cushion to it. You can feel it, you can smell it sitting in here. The word Platinum engraved on the back of the back seats even, and the amount of cushion in both the bottom and top part of the seat is much higher than the other trims of F-150. Much higher quality feeling truck on the inside. The cushion, you just kind of sink into these seats. Super comfortable. Seats in the rear of the F-150 here are heated. We also have, of course, some ways of powering and charging up and back, which is convenient. We also have that large panoramic moonroof that we have a good view at sitting in back of here. And it is just so comfortable. The amount of legroom is tremendous. The headroom is unbelievable. There's nothing more that you could ask for. This is about as high end of a truck that you could get in the 1500 range. And my goodness, I could sit back here and never move. These seats feel amazing. The amount of cushion and the quality is absolutely fantastic. Moving into the front of the F-150, right into the driver's seat, we have a very similar door panel to what we have in back of the F-150, the Alcantara, the leather, but we also get some additional black chrome that actually matches that exhaust tip that I brought up earlier. Again, those amazing B&O speaker grills. The steering wheel leather wrapped, platinum engraved. That same color is carried over to the bottom of the steering wheel here, that black chrome. Very comfortable seats, lots of support, and we also get massage functions added into the Platinum model here. I just can't get over how high quality these seats feel. Where my arm sits here on the center console, it is so comfortable, so high quality feeling, the materials that are used in here, and this absolutely massive heads-up display that looks out over my entire hood pretty much. Just super wide view that shows a lot of information, makes it very convenient, and you can tell that you are in an upper trim truck just by touching those features alone. Behind the wheel of the F-150 Platinum, just before we set off, one of the things that's convenient here is the wireless phone charger that you can hide right under this cubby here. The fold down shifter, which is pretty nice, and of course you can fold this forward as well for a small workstation here in the F-150, so that is pretty dang convenient. All in all, this is very similar to the 2023. On the Platinum seats, you do have this little adjustment, so you can kind of pull it forward here. You hear it clicking to lock it into place. Pull it all the way forward to unlock it and it goes back flat. Just gives you a little bit more adjustment on the top side of your back, which is pretty cool. One of the things I don't like about the 2024 as much is it used to be exclusive to get the digital dashboard, which makes it feel not as special now that you have the same one as the XL and XLT. I almost feel like something with the tech has to change because all of this feels so similar to the lower trims for the price gap that it just doesn't feel as special anymore, if that makes any sense. Granted, like I brought up earlier, you do get this fantastic heads-up display. Setting off in the F-150, one of my favorite things about this truck that has been my favorite about this truck versus all of the other competitors is just how smooth it is, especially with the 3.5 EcoBoost inside of here. The 3.5 just makes these trucks so unbelievably smooth and luxurious feeling. The power delivery is fantastic, and their overall ride quality is just absolutely phenomenal. It is extremely impressive how good the ride quality is in here, especially when you go ride in something like a Range Rover or something. You just truly don't understand how good you have it driving one of these until you experience another luxury car and see, hey, wait, my truck actually rides just as good, if not better than this. It is very impressive just because of how much they can distribute the weight and how big they are, how unbelievably nice they truly do ride. And they are pretty easy to drive too, especially with this Platinum when you have all of this light coming onto the interior and all of the safety gizmos and bells and whistles with all the safety tech and features. It makes this massive truck pretty easy to get around. Even over the bumpiest of roads, the F-150 does a great job of staying planted, and it really is just a luxurious feeling truck. And not only is the 3.5 smooth and very luxurious feeling, but it also is not slow either, with quite a bit of torque down low and 2 turbos to assist it. The 3.5 has, well, just take a peek at how quick this truck is. Paired to the 10-speed transmission and lots of adjustable drive modes, you can truly change the personality of how this truck reacts when you put your foot to the floor, steer, or shift through the 10 speeds that there is to offer. This truck does have all sorts of drive modes that do greatly change the way that it feels driving behind the wheel, which also make it a little bit more fun to drive because it's not just the same thing over and over again. The drive modes do change the way the truck feels. And not only do the drive modes change the way the truck feels while driving, but they also change the way that the truck feels driving around because it changes up the way that the displays look. For example, we go into sport mode here and it changes up some of the colors and stuff that we look at on the display here, change it up our speedo and tack just to make it feel a bit more sporty. So not only does it change the way that it feels behind the wheel, but it changes the way that it feels tech-wise, and it feels like an entirely different vehicle when you change up the colors and play around with the modes like that. It's actually kind of fun. However, everything that I just stated about the F-150 is not Platinum specific, but as you can see, just from that shift of the dial into sport mode, I now have a dramatically louder sounding exhaust. The steering is very much so tightened up. The throttle response has changed dramatically. The transmission shift points have slightly changed up. It's like a totally different vehicle by just swapping over the dial. It went from this cool, luxurious truck to this somewhat rowdy feeling because the throttle is so responsive and the steering is so heavy. Kind of sport truck. It's cool. Now, all of the tech in the F-150 does make it feel extremely modern, and I do like that a lot. I'm not sure if it'll ever feel dated or not, but right now, in 2024, all of the tech in here is great. I love the sync system. It is quite good. The digital dash, the heads-up display, all that paired with all of the safety tech makes it a very, very enjoyable truck to drive down the road. The new F-150 with the facelift is definitely getting 2 thumbs up in my book. The F-150 Platinum is an absolutely beautiful truck, and it's on another level when it comes to the interior compared to the lower trim F-150s, when it really just comes to interior quality. In my personal opinion, the Platinum is an amazing vehicle, but the lower trim of F-150 at the dramatic price point lower that it is at than this Platinum makes it a much more appealing truck in my personal opinion. I think the Platinum is great. I think it's amazing. In my opinion, it would be the go-to on the used market because they tend to depreciate a little bit harder than the XLT trims do. I still think the XLT is the best bang for your buck in my opinion, but if you're looking for that next level of elegance, high quality interior, and some amazing feeling leather in the front and rear, I think this is the one for you. You're also talking about a super high-end sound system, and it's just so luxurious going down the road. So if you're looking for the most top-tier truck out there, be sure to check out the F-150 Platinum. I am a huge fan of it. Let me know what you think of the Platinum or what trim you think is the go-to pick down in the comments below. The cooled seats are cool in the Platinum, but they're also there in the Lariat as well. So that makes it kind of a hard toss-up. I look forward to seeing what you guys think. Be sure to hit like, hit subscribe here on Apple Autos for all types of different videos that we have coming in the future.